Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. The 4th of July is also known as Independence Day. It commemorates the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. Think of it as America's birthday. When most people think about July 4th, they think about fireworks. But do you know why Americans display fireworks on the 4th? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Americans kick up their heels on this holiday in many ways, but people mostly go to picnics and barbecues. It's also a day to be patriotic, so you'll often see the American flag and people dressed in red, white, and blue. Parades are another common sight on the 4th of July, especially during the daytime. Why do they take place during the day? Because as soon as it gets dark, Americans gather to watch magnificent fireworks in the night sky. Some families set off small fireworks in their driveways, and some gather in parks or by the sea to see the larger, more professional firework displays. The most outstanding firework displays take place in New York City and Washington, D.C. Both of these displays are televised nationally, and the president even attends the display in Washington, D.C. On the 4th of July, you'll hear the U.S. national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. The words were written by Francis Scott Key, who was inspired to write the lyrics after witnessing the Battle of Fort McHenry in the War of 1812. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Why do Americans shoot fireworks on the 4th? The custom of shooting off fireworks on Independence Day can be traced back to a quote by our second president, John Adams. He said that he believed that July 4th should be celebrated by pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays when fireworks are shot off in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. Halloween is a time for celebration in the USA. It's become the second most popular holiday in the nation over the years. Halloween is known for its oftentimes scary costumes, elaborate parties and events, horror film festivals, and its many Gothic trappings. This holiday was a latecomer to the US, not really becoming popular until the early 20th century. Today, it's one of the most anticipated holidays in the USA. Halloween is very much associated with scary costumes and things that are wonderfully creepy. Do you know what holiday dressing up in scary costumes was likely borrowed from? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. People in the USA typically carve pumpkins into scary jack-o'-lanterns, decorate their houses to look as creepy as possible, and wear elaborate costumes to celebrate this holiday. These aspects of Halloween, according to some, have their roots in various Celtic and European myths, legends, and cultural traditions. Today, popular horror films have also influenced the cultural traditions that surround Halloween. The monster movies of the early 20th century are significant contributors to the look and feel of modern Halloween celebrations in the USA. Trick-or-treating started at the beginning of the 20th century to curb the vandalism and destruction that once characterized this holiday in the USA. Today, Halloween is a night when the streets are full of families getting treats from their neighbors, and vandalism and other problems are rare. Some families and social groups set up elaborate haunted houses and invite people to go through for free or for a donation. Hayrides and other nighttime events are also very popular in rural areas. Check the local theaters and TV stations around Halloween, and you'll find plenty of scary stuff to watch, too. Over the years, Halloween costumes in the USA have become more varied. Some people, particularly younger participants, forego the dark Gothic theme of the holiday and dress up as characters from adventure movies, literary figures, or even historical figures. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what holiday dressing up in scary costumes was likely borrowed from? Samhain is considered to be a significant influence on Halloween celebrations, though this is disputed by some scholars. Samhain was, and still is to some extent, celebrated in Scotland and Ireland. It's associated with the final harvest of the year more than it is with scary ghouls and goblins, though spirits do play a part. The dressing up was originally done to scare malicious spirits away or to trick them into thinking that you were one of them to avoid harm. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is Halloween celebrated in your country? If so, how? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Labor Day is celebrated nationwide in the US on the first Monday in September. It's been celebrated since 1894 at the federal level, and it's the only US federal holiday dedicated to American workers. The holiday arose from a time of political crises in the US, and partially in reaction to a particularly bloody strike. Labor Day was adopted as an alternative to International Workers' Day. Do you know why? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Labor Day celebrates the American worker. It's also the unofficial end of the summer vacation and recreation season. In most US school districts, summer vacation ends right after Labor Day. The celebrations are informal, and the main purpose of the holiday is really to give people a day off of work and to recognize what working men and women contribute to the nation. Every Labor Day in the US, you'll smell plenty of barbecues firing up and see a lot of people having informal gatherings in parks and in their own backyards. In addition to celebrating laborers, this day means that summer is drawing to a close. In touristy cities, you'll start to see cars driving away and people returning to their homes. Parades are sometimes held to commemorate the day as well. Labor Day is also significant for professional sports, as it's the official beginning of the professional football season in the United States. On the Thursday immediately after Labor Day, sports fans tune in to the very first pro football game of the year. For post-secondary students, college or university starts right after the holiday, and college football is in full swing soon after Labor Day as well. Put away your white shoes! Wearing white shoes after Labor Day and before Memorial Day is considered a faux pas by some fashion-conscious Americans. This, however, is now a rather out-of-date custom. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know why Labor Day was adopted as an alternative to International Workers' Day? Labor Day was offered as an alternative to International Workers' Day due to the political nature of the latter. Fearing the political influence of the communist movements just starting up in Europe, Congress and President Grover Cleveland needed to reach out to the American labor force. They rushed Labor Day through as a holiday. It was already celebrated in several states, to offer reconciliation with the labor movement and to head off the influence of the more radical workers' movements in Europe. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day similar to Labor Day in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Columbus Day celebrates the day that Christopher Columbus first arrived in the Americas. The holiday is celebrated on October 12th, and in some cities, there are very large parades and many other events. It's particularly popular in US cities with large Italian populations, though it's celebrated nationwide. A famous American charity organization is named after Christopher Columbus and takes part in celebrations during Columbus Day. Can you guess which one? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. In Italian-American communities, particularly in the larger cities in the US, Columbus Day is very much tied to a celebration of their heritage, in addition to the celebration of Columbus's arrival in the Americas. Cultural and religious images and symbols specific to Italian Americans are abundant in Columbus Day parades. If there's one thing that defines Columbus Day celebrations in the US, it's the parade. New York City is particularly well known for its large Columbus Day parade. San Francisco has the longest-running Columbus Day celebration in the United States, dating back to 1868. Columbus Day in the U.S. is not celebrated in every state. In fact, some U.S. states do not recognize it at all, and many schools remain open on the day. There is controversy surrounding this holiday, and it's been changed to a celebration of Native American cultures in some areas. Columbus didn't realize he'd arrived in the Americas. This is why Native Americans are sometimes referred to as Indians, which, incidentally, some say is politically incorrect. Columbus initially thought he was in the East Indies. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know a famous American charity organization that's named after Christopher Columbus and takes part in celebrations on Columbus Day? The Knights of Columbus is a charitable organization with very strong Italian and Catholic roots. They participate in just about every Columbus Day celebration. You'll find them marching among the participants in any large parade, to be sure. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays that celebrate a famous historical figure in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Thanksgiving is one of the most celebrated holidays in the United States. It also marks the beginning of the holiday season, the weeks leading up to Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and the winter solstice, which are all widely celebrated holidays in the US. For retailers, Thanksgiving begins their busiest season. Thanksgiving is celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November. Thanksgiving was founded as a national holiday by one of the most famous presidents of the United States. Do you know who it might have been? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Thanksgiving, to a large extent, is about having a feast with friends and family. Turkey is the traditional main course with yams, squash, pumpkin pie, cranberries, and other rich and filling foods rounding out the meal. Some families spend weeks preparing for their Thanksgiving feast, and to stuff oneself is most certainly encouraged. The Thanksgiving meal of today is rooted in the meal that the Pilgrims from Europe shared with the Native Americans on the first Thanksgiving. This was quite a feast. Turkey, duck, goose, squash, corn, and a plethora of other foods were shared between the Europeans and the Native Americans. This original fete was said to go on for 3 full days. Football is another tradition during Thanksgiving celebrations in the United States. Watching the football game while preparing the Thanksgiving meal is an important part of the celebration for many families. Families that aren't sports fans, however, may opt to spend the time outside, enjoying the crisp autumn air, or may find other diversions to enjoy while the turkey cooks. Thanksgiving is not a uniquely American holiday. There are similar celebrations in Canada, for instance. The concept behind the holiday, showing thankfulness by having a feast, spans many cultures. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know who founded Thanksgiving as a national holiday? Abraham Lincoln established Thanksgiving during the dark days of the American Civil War. Even though the holiday was officially born during this conflict, it's more associated with the initially good relations between the first European immigrants and the Native Americans. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day in your country where you give thanks? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Christmas Day is celebrated on the 25th of December in the United States. Though it is a religious holiday for Christians, it's also a popular holiday with non-Christians as well. Parades, gift-giving, holiday displays, and lights galore mark the arrival of Christmas in the United States. It's a federal holiday and is observed by every U.S. state. A famous American city associated with the American Revolution was not big on celebrating Christmas until the middle of the 1800s. Can you guess which one? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Christmas in the US involves a great many types of celebration. For Christians, it means church services and social gatherings. Even people who do not celebrate the religious aspects of the holiday tend to enjoy gift-giving, having family gatherings, and feasting together. For students, it means a long break from school or college and is a popular time to go home and visit family. Putting colorful lights on one's house is a very popular way to celebrate Christmas in the US. Being the darkest time of year in the Northern Hemisphere, the holiday turns into a celebration of lights, with complex, and sometimes very expensive, displays decorating homes. Competitions for the best lighting setup are fun and common ways to celebrate the holiday. The Christmas tree is another popular Christmas tradition in the US. Artificial or natural, it's common to see a conifer tree decorating the living room of most homes. The trees are decorated with colorful lights and with ornaments that are oftentimes also family heirlooms. There's also a national Christmas tree in the US, which is lit up by the president at the beginning of December. Christmas songs are very popular as well. There are traditional songs such as Silent Night and The 12 Days of Christmas, along with many others. It was once common to see carolers go door to door to sing Christmas carols, but now it's a rarity. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what famous American city associated with the American Revolution was not big on celebrating Christmas until the middle of the 1800s? The Puritan Pilgrims who settled in New England did not approve of the celebration of Christmas. It was actually banned in Boston until the late 1600s. Even after the ban was lifted, Christmas in Boston didn't become popular until the middle of the 1800s. Today, Boston is lit up as much as is any other city during Christmas. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? In what ways is Christmas celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Memorial Day in the United States dates back to the Civil War. It's one of the two major US holidays specifically associated with fallen soldiers. It was more popular at the beginning of the 20th century than it is today, but it's still an important holiday in the US. Memorial Day was not always known by its current name. Can you guess what this holiday was originally named? Hint: the original name has to do with decorations. We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Cemeteries in the US are usually decorated with flags on Memorial Day. Memorial Day is also typically marked by the firing of large guns or multi-gun salutes in veteran cemeteries. The families of fallen soldiers will oftentimes go to the grave of their lost family member to remember them on this day. This holiday is celebrated on the last Monday of May. Memorial Day has expanded in its scope over the years. Originally only for the fallen Union and Confederate soldiers from the Civil War, it became more inclusive of the fallen from other wars over the years. Today, it's more of a day of remembrance of the dead in general, with a focus on military members. Memorial Day parades with plenty of patriotic imagery are very common. Memorial Day is oftentimes the day, or close to the day, when schools let out for the summer in the US. This is part of the reason that the holiday is so much associated with summer tourism. Families that visit the graves of fallen soldiers, and those who do not, often have cookouts on this day to celebrate the beginning of the warm summer months and their children's time off from school. Memorial Day and Veterans Day are the two holidays in the United States that are closely tied to military members and those who fell in service. Both holidays have evolved over the years. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Can you guess what Memorial Day was originally named? Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day. The name and the holiday itself have both changed a great deal over the years, but it still remains an important day for veterans and their families. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a similar day of remembrance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. New Year's Day is on January 1st in the US. It's almost universally a day off from work, and in the US, closed stores, gas stations, and other businesses are common sights come January 1st. It's preceded by some of the largest celebrations in the nation, and, weary from being up all night enjoying the parties, Americans tend to take it easy on this day. The song Auld Lang Syne is associated with the New Year's celebration in the US. Do you know what this song's title means? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day in the United States are both regarded as holidays, though only New Year's Day is an official one. The holiday kicks off late on New Year's Eve when people go out to celebrate in style. This holiday is marked by fancy parties and plenty of parades and other events. Celebrating the New Year across the time zones that cross the US is a popular tradition with those who like to stay at home. In Times Square in New York, one of the biggest celebrations in the nation is held, and this is typically regarded as the official New Year party for the entire country, though each time zone rings in the New Year with its own celebration. New Year's resolutions are popular in the United States, though oftentimes in a tongue-in-cheek way. Most of the time, people will resolve to give up a bad habit or adopt a healthy new habit over the course of the new year. It's almost accepted as a matter of course that people will not follow through on these resolutions, however, and it fits well with the tradition of American sarcastic humor. New Year's Day isn't celebrated on January 1st on all calendars. According to the Chinese lunar calendar, New Year's is usually in February. Depending on the culture and tradition, it can be celebrated on other dates as well. Popular resolutions include quitting smoking, losing weight, becoming more ambitious with goals, and getting a better job. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what the song title Auld Lang Syne means? Auld Lang Syne means the good old days, or days gone by, depending on the translation. The song is a very old tradition, dating back hundreds of years. The New Year's Day celebrations in the US can easily extend from before midnight on January 1st to well into the afternoon. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? How is New Year's Day celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is held on the third Monday in January every year in the United States. This holiday is dedicated to the slain civil rights leader who advocated nonviolent action as a way to reform discriminatory laws in the United States. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was not accepted by all 50 states right away. It was signed into law in 1983. Do you know when all 50 states adopted it? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federally recognized holiday, but there are celebrations in some cities and not in others. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is tied to the civil rights struggles of the 20th century and beyond. It's very much associated with the struggles of the African American community in particular, but it's also celebrated by most people in the US as a unifying holiday. Celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy is a complex endeavor. For most people, what he fought for and how he fought for it are equally important. King advocated for the rights of African Americans and other groups who were discriminated against via racist laws. He also advocated nonviolence, and the images of riot police beating unarmed, nonviolent civil rights protesters in the 1960s are largely credited with swaying public opinion. Teaching African American history is a major component of many Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebrations. In fact, many of these celebrations and events tried to inform people about other civil rights leaders who were instrumental in reforming exclusionary laws in the U.S. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is also celebrated in Hiroshima, Japan, where it is nearly as significant as it is in the U.S. The city of Toronto in Canada also holds festivities in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know when all 50 states adopted Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Martin Luther King Jr. Day was not officially recognized by every state until 2000. Though President Reagan signed it into law in 1983, many states resisted the holiday or tried to term it something else, such as Human Rights Day in Utah. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays that celebrate a famous historical figure in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Since 1919, November 11th has been a national holiday in the United States. Originally called Armistice Day, Veterans Day commemorates the men and women who served in America's armed forces. This holiday is marked by parades, educational events, and gatherings at memorials to fallen soldiers. There is a specific time of day associated with this November 11th holiday as well. Can you guess what it is? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The holiday was originally specific to the ending of World War I, but it became Veterans Day in 1954. The end of World War I marked the end of the first global conflict in which the United States had been involved. It also marked the end of one of its bloodiest wars, and, to ensure that people didn't forget, Armistice Day was signed into law in 1919. Veterans Day parades are popular events on November 11th. Today, there are no surviving combat veterans from the First World War, which it was originally designed to commemorate. You'll find veterans of all wars, as well as peacetime veterans, marching in Veterans Day parades in the United States. People who served in the United States Marine Corps also celebrate the birthday of their branch of service on November 11th. The United States Marine Corps was established on November 10, 1775, but the events are close enough to make Veterans Day an important celebration for members of the Marine Corps as well. Most members of the Marine Corps get some time off to enjoy this holiday. Veterans Day was briefly moved to October in 1971. The move did not last long, and by 1978, the holiday had been moved back to its original November 11th date. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the specific time of day associated with this November 11th holiday? During Veterans Day celebrations, the most important time of day is 11 o'clock a.m. The armistice that brought World War I to a halt was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Germany's agreement to this ceasefire brought an end to a war whose repercussions would be felt well into the next generation. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a similar day in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. On the third Monday of February every year, the United States pays tribute to its first president, George Washington. Washington's birthday is a federal holiday, and federal government workers get the day off. It's not as widely celebrated as some other national holidays, however. Sometimes the holiday is referred to as President's Day. There's a rather odd tradition associated with Washington's birthday and President's Day. Try to guess what it is. We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Washington's birthday is not among the U.S. holidays that are associated with large-scale celebrations. There are celebrations in some cities, but compared to other major holidays in the United States, this one is rather reserved in nature. Washington's birthday is often part of the combined President's Day celebration. Most of the time, President's Day emphasizes the two people who are generally considered to be the greatest presidents of the United States, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Washington's birthday is culturally significant to the United States because of General Washington's revered place in history. He was the first American president, and beyond that, he was handed a unanimous electoral college victory to win that office. He is also the most celebrated general in the Revolutionary Army that defeated the British. The biggest celebrations of his holiday are held at the George Washington Birthplace National Monument in Virginia and at Mount Vernon. George Washington designed the first medal intended for the average soldier. The Purple Heart, one of the most respected U.S. service medals in existence, is given to soldiers who were injured in battle, and it was designed by Washington himself. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Believe it or not, sales are a tremendous part of the traditional Washington's birthday and President's Day celebrations. Furniture stores and car dealerships are particularly notable for holding sales on this day. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you celebrate the birthdays of important leaders in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! everyone, I'm Alicia. April Fool's Day is one of the most beloved and some would say pointless holidays in the United States. In fact, its lighthearted nature is part of what makes it so popular. There is a popular misconception regarding the origin of April Fool's Day. Do you know what it is? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The events associated with April Fool's Day are not officially organized and are often not observed intentionally. This is a holiday when just about everybody gets a prank or two played on them in the United States. Americans generally celebrate April Fool's Day by looking for any opportunity they can to play a prank on their friends. In fact, this is really the only point of the entire holiday. April Fool's Day is not marked by parades, speeches, or other events. This holiday is all about fun. On April Fool's Day, you'll find people falling victim to pranks that are elaborate and simple alike. A lot of the time, the pranks involve telling somebody something outrageous or false, and if they're gullible enough to believe it, saying April Fools to let them know that they've been had by a prank. Even companies get into the action on April Fool's Day in the United States. For example, Google, the internet search giant, became famous for adding features to its Google Earth and Maps products that were downright ridiculous. If you tried to plot a walking route across an ocean, for example, you might get advice to use a kayak or a jet ski to traverse the natural barrier. April Fool's Day is not just an American holiday. It actually dates back to earlier holidays, including the Roman festival of Hilaria. The idea of having a holiday specifically to play pranks isn't a United States tradition alone. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what a popular misconception is regarding the origin of April Fool's Day? Contrary to popular belief, April Fool's Day is not rooted in people mistaking April 1st for the beginning of the new year. In fact, there are references to this holiday known to historians that date back as early as the late 1300s. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Does April Fool's Day exist in your country? If so, what are some traditional tricks or jokes for this day? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Daylight saving time begins in the United States in the second week of March. It's not a holiday in the normal sense of the word, but it does mark the beginning of the time of year when the afternoons last longer and when people enjoy more light later in the evening. Daylight saving time is about saving power, but there are other reasons for it as well. Can you guess what some of them might be? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Daylight saving time dates back to the days of World War I. It was originally intended as a way to save energy. The logic behind it was that because people would have more daylight to work with, they would have to burn less fuel to light factories, houses, and so forth. The beginning of daylight saving time is usually a bit more traumatic for people than the ending of daylight saving time in November. Because everybody's clocks are 1 hour ahead, most people end up losing 1 full hour of sleep at night. This means a lot of tardiness at work, a lot of drowsy people on the roads, and other hazards. Daylight saving time was extended by the Energy Policy Act of 2005. This means that daylight saving time always starts on the second Sunday of March and ends on the first Sunday of November. Of course, this does not apply to the many states that do not participate in daylight saving time at all. In northern latitudes, the effects of daylight saving time are more pronounced than they are in southern latitudes. In the northernmost parts of the continental United States, summer twilight can last until as late as 10 o'clock p.m. due to setting the clocks forward in March. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know other reasons for daylight saving time? Another reason that daylight saving time was extended to the first Sunday in November is actually one of the biggest holidays in the US, Halloween. Some members of Congress determined that extending daylight saving time past Halloween would make it more fun for children to go out trick-or-treating due to the extended daylight hours. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you observe daylight saving time in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! everyone, I'm Alicia. Tuesday, after the first Monday in November, marks Election Day in the United States. Election Day isn't a national holiday, but people are required to be let off of work for a certain amount of time so that they can participate in the election. When people talk about Election Day, they're usually talking about the federal offices in the United States. The United States has always tried to position Election Day near November. Can you guess why this might be the case? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Election Day in the United States means the end of long periods of campaigning, something which many Americans are grateful to see come about. It also means that polling places have long lines and that people sit by the TV, radio, or computer waiting to hear the results as soon as they're turned in. For most people in the United States, the Tuesday after the first Monday in November is a workday. This has been controversial for many years. Some people have advocated that Election Day be made an official federal holiday so that everybody has the day off to vote at their leisure. The media in the United States covers Election Day like nothing else. In fact, this is one of the most competitive times of the year for media in general. All of the most popular and best-known anchormen and women will be behind a desk with a map of the United States showing where the electoral votes of those states are going as soon as the results are available. The United States does not vote on a popular vote system. The Electoral College determines the winner of a given state, which translates to a certain amount of electoral votes, making some states much more important than others to politicians. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Can you guess why the United States has always tried to position Election Day in November? The November date of Election Day is due to the fact that the U.S. was largely an agrarian society when the first elections were held. By November, most farmers had their produce harvested and could then make a trip, sometimes long, to town to vote. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a special day when elections are held in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time. Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Groundhog Day is a fun tradition in the United States. It's not a national holiday, and nobody gets a day off, but everybody waits to see whether the groundhog predicts that spring will come early or late. It takes place on February 2nd. Punxsutawney appeared in a popular movie about Groundhog Day. Can you guess what the movie was called? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Groundhog Day comes at the time of year when winter has dragged on for quite a while and when people are ready for spring. Of course, the groundhog really cannot predict whether spring will come early or late, but when he predicts that spring is on its way soon, people are generally much more chipper. Groundhog Day might not be a national holiday, but it's certainly an important and well-known tradition in the United States. Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, which is as close to the national capital for the holiday as there is, receives approximately 40,000 people every year who come to celebrate the day. Groundhog Day involves a rather simple tradition. When the groundhog looks out of his burrow, his prediction is based upon his choice to either go back into his burrow or to come out. If the weather is cloudy and he doesn't see his shadow, the legend holds that he'll stay out of his burrow, signaling that spring is on its way soon. If he sees his shadow and goes back into his burrow, it means that there are 6 more weeks of winter on the way. Groundhog Day is for kicks, and not about being accurate. According to most reputable sources, the accuracy of Punxsutawney Phil, or any other groundhog, is close enough to and as significant as the accuracy of chance. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the movie in which Punxsutawney appeared that was about Groundhog Day? Not too surprisingly, the film that featured Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania was called Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray. The film's plot centered around Bill Murray's character living the same day over and over again, which happened to be Groundhog Day. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Had you heard of this holiday before? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. St. Patrick's Day is one of the most popular United States holidays. It combines a celebration of Irish culture with a great excuse to get out, let loose, and have some fun. It has been celebrated since the 18th century, making it one of the most enduring holidays in the United States. It's celebrated in mid-March. The biggest, but not the first, St. Patrick's Day celebrations are held in New York. Do you know where the first one was held? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Irish Americans have contributed much to the United States, and St. Patrick's Day, to a large extent, is about celebrating that. St. Patrick's Day is also about celebrating the culture from which Irish Americans come. It has affiliations with the Catholic Church and is also recognized as one of the biggest nights of the year to go out to the local pubs and taverns. St. Patrick's Day in the United States is a big party. If you want to see a big St. Patrick's Day parade, New York is the place to be. This parade has been held every year since 1762 and is one of the country's most vibrant, vivacious, and largest celebrations. There are parades held across the nation, and most of them date back to the 19th century or earlier. St. Patrick's Day parades are some of the most attended events of the year. Green, the color most associated with Ireland, is a huge part of St. Patrick's Day. Americans typically try to sport something green on St. Patrick's Day to show their support for the Irish American community and their acknowledgement of the importance of the day. One popular American tradition is to pinch anybody who fails to wear green on this holiday. In some cities, rivers and fountains are dyed green temporarily to celebrate this special day for Irish Americans. In 1780, George Washington gave March 17th to his troops as a day to celebrate the Irish fight for independence. He considered this an act of solidarity with the Irish people, of whom made up a large number in his army. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know where the first St. Patrick's Day celebrations were held? The first St. Patrick's Day observance was held in Boston. This was nowhere near as elaborate an event as you'd see in the United States today, but it was important in that it launched a tradition that is now deeply ingrained in American society. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is St. Patrick's Day celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Valentine's Day is a very popular holiday in the United States. It's centered on romance and is a heavily commercialized holiday as well. During this time of year, married couples, partners, and sweethearts are encouraged to go out to dinner, spend some romantic time together, and generally acknowledge the importance of one another in each other's lives. This holiday is celebrated on February 14th every year. Valentine's Day is associated with a particular type of love from the High Middle Ages. Do you know what that type of love is called? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Valentine's Day is, among other things, a day when one partner is encouraged to essentially court their partner as they would before they were dating or married. Presenting a wife, lover, or girlfriend or boyfriend with flowers, candy, and other romantic gifts is a huge part of Valentine's Day traditions in the United States. During this particular holiday, the most romantic restaurants in any city will generally be booked solid. Valentine's Day is very important commercially in the United States due to the traditional gifts that sweethearts and married couples give one another. This is particularly true of the floral industry, as giving one special someone red roses on this day is more or less expected. Clothing, jewelry, food, and other items are also popularly given to sweethearts and spouses on this day. For some couples, Valentine's Day is when one member of the couple goes overboard to spoil the other and is delighted to do so. Valentine's Day celebrations can be very innocent in addition to being romantic. In schools in the United States, children are quite frequently encouraged to make and exchange valentines, more as gestures of friendship than anything else. This allows everybody to get in on the fun. In some cases, people in the United States who are currently single will do something special for a friend who means a great deal to them and to whom they want to express affection, even though it's not romantic affection. Valentine's Day cards are among the most impressive pieces of artwork associated with this holiday. Antique Valentine's Day cards can fetch handsome prices from collectors due to their intricacy and their sometimes very imaginative artwork. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what type of love is associated with Valentine's Day from the High Middle Ages? Valentine's Day has strong associations with what was called courtly love in the High Middle Ages. This was a highly ritualized form of romantic love where each partner was expected to do particular things to express their appreciation for one another. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? What Valentine's Day traditions exist in your country, if any? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Earth Day is a worldwide celebration that started in the United States. In 1970, a U.S. Senator named Gaylord Nelson held what is considered to be the first Earth Day celebration. Today, it's international, but particularly important in the United States. It's all about educating people about and celebrating the importance of the natural environment and working to preserve it. The first Earth Day was tied to a particular environmental disaster. Do you know which one it was? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Earth Day is a holiday that is designed to be educational, but it's a lot of fun as well. When Gaylord Nelson had the first Earth Day, it was based on the idea of an environmental teach-in. That first holiday attracted over 20 million people. Today, the holiday has expanded tremendously. It's estimated that, across the 175 nations that celebrate Earth Day, 500 million people participate in the events. Earth Week is an offshoot of the celebration. Earth Day celebrations typically include both events where people gather in public places, engage in games and other diversions, and community service efforts. Some of the people who go out to celebrate Earth Day attend one of the many parades that are held to commemorate the day. While the first Earth Day celebrations were considered to be rather political, that has faded over time, and today, most people just go out and have fun and learn something about the environment. In the United States, Earth Day is generally celebrated in schools, and teachers use the occasion to give lessons on environmental science, biology, and other relevant topics. Because Earth Day is so rooted in the idea of educating people about the environment, many of the events are educational in and of themselves. Oftentimes, large-scale events are held in parks and other public places that emphasize the importance of keeping green spaces for everybody to use. Earth Day is on April 22nd in part because, for students in college, it would be right between spring break and summer vacation. This makes it easier to reach out to post-secondary students. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which environmental disaster is tied to the first Earth Day? An oil spill in Santa Barbara, California in 1969 is credited for spurring the first Earth Day. The event was designed to be a grassroots one from the start and continues on in that tradition today. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Earth Day is celebrated around the world. How is it celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. In the United States, federal income taxes and most state income taxes are due on April 15th. This is not a holiday, of course, but it's a major event nonetheless. Throughout the nation, you'll see people scrambling to get their tax forms in the mail before midnight on April 15th. Technically, federal income taxes are only due on this day if you owe the federal government money. The first income tax in the United States was imposed to pay for a war. Do you know which war it was imposed to pay for? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. In the United States, the beginning of tax season generally starts in February. Tax season is that time of year when people start bringing their taxes into preparers to get them ready to send into the federal government. U.S. citizens have the option of using a tax preparer or an accountant. usually a much more expensive option, to prepare their taxes. There are stiff penalties charged if taxes are underpaid or not paid at all. On April 15th of every year, the United States Post Office stays open until midnight to make sure that people have every possible opportunity to get their taxes in the mail before the deadline. Those individuals who don't owe any tax to the government don't have to make this deadline. In addition to sending in tax forms, payment is due on or before April 15th of every year as well. Every year around tax time, you see the parking lots of tax preparation agencies overflowing with cars. One tradition in the United States relating to tax time is holding sales at various businesses. People who get tax returns oftentimes spend the money on something for themselves, and to capitalize on this, businesses often offer discounts on their items during this time of year. Some tax preparation agencies even allow people to take out a loan of the same amount as their anticipated tax refund. It's a busy time of the year for the IRS and businesses alike. Though it has been controversial, the 16th Amendment to the United States Constitution gives the U.S. government the authority to levy income taxes. It has been contested, but is held up to all challenges. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know for which war the first income tax was imposed? The first income taxes in the United States were imposed during the Civil War. The constitutional amendment that gives the federal government the authority to collect income taxes was actually passed in 1913. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a special day for paying taxes in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Easter Sunday in the United States is among the most important religious holidays in the nation. There are also secular events held around this holiday, and, in some cases, families celebrate traditions other than the Christian one. For Christians, the holiday is centered on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Churches hold special events during Easter weekend. Besides midnight masses on Christmas, Easter services are some of the most popular in churches in the United States. Do you know when many of them hold these services? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Aside from the religious traditions which vary from church to church, Easter Sunday in the United States is celebrated in other ways as well. Whether or not they happen to be followers of any church, people in the United States are inclined to have family gatherings on this day, and large feasts are usually served. For some people, Easter Sunday is merely a celebration of spring, while for others it has tremendous religious significance. The most prevalent Easter Sunday tradition involves church services. Some churches hold elaborate parades to celebrate the day, and others have less noticeable celebrations. Most churches at least have social events over the Easter holiday, allowing them to spend time with their fellow churchgoers and to socialize. Picnics and other events are also commonly held during this particular holiday. Secular events held during Easter Sunday include Easter egg hunts and other activities for children. These events are open to everyone and don't have any particular religious overtones to them. Community events are often held as well, simply because the holiday is notable and people tend to want to get together. The Easter Bunny, eggs, flowers, and other symbols are very much associated with spring and are still important traditions for this particular holiday. Because denominations in the United States are so diverse, you'll find many different traditions being celebrated on Easter Sunday. Some traditions involve all-night vigils before the holiday itself. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know when many churches hold Easter services? Services at the break of day are among the most popular church events on Easter Sunday. During these services, Christians come to church in the pre-dawn hours and have their service as the sun rises. For many, these services have a powerful symbolic significance. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? What kind of Easter traditions exist in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Passover is one of the most important Jewish holidays. The holiday is widely celebrated in the United States in areas where there is a large Jewish population. In areas where the Jewish population is not so large, Passover is generally not celebrated. It's not an official holiday anywhere in the United States. A particular type of bread is associated with Passover. Do you know which type of bread this is and why it's associated with the holiday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The Passover celebration goes on for up to 8 days. It commemorates the flight of the Israelites from Egypt and one of the 10 plagues that the God of the Israelites released upon the Pharaoh. According to the tradition, the Israelites were commanded to paint their door jambs with the blood of a spring lamb so that they would not be subjected to the death of their firstborn as the Egyptians were. This is where the term Passover comes from. In areas where there is a large Jewish population, many people of other faiths spend time with their Jewish friends during this holiday and learn a bit about the Jewish culture and traditions. Passover is celebrated by secular Jews, though the religious connotations are obviously much less prevalent in these celebrations. Both feasting and fasting are part of this celebration. Community Passover events are scarcely heard of in the United States. This is largely a family holiday with a significant focus on the Jewish religion itself. There are many different rituals related to eating during this time of year and the retelling of the stories behind the celebration of Passover. While it may not be an official holiday, most Americans are well aware of Passover, and people of the Jewish faith are often given time off of work so that they can observe the holiday if need be. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which type of bread is associated with Passover? Unleavened bread is associated with the Passover holiday. According to the story in Exodus, the Israelites did not have time to wait for the bread to rise before they fled Egypt. Because of that, they ended up traveling with unleavened bread, and it would evolve into a cultural symbol within the Jewish community, as well as an important staple of many people worldwide. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays with religious significance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Mother's Day is held on the second Sunday in May of every year. It's one of the most important commercial holidays in the nation. The holiday is over 100 years old and was officially declared a federal holiday in 1914. Originally, the holiday was celebrated by hanging a flag to recognize the mothers who had a child who died in war. Today, it has no association with war whatsoever. The first Mother's Day celebrations were associated with a particular movement. Do you know what movement with which it was associated? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Mother's Day is, just as the name implies, a celebration of everything to do with mothers. It's common for people to buy expensive gifts for their mothers, or at the very least, to send them a card showing their appreciation. Mother's Day cards have become among the most commercially successful items associated with the holiday. It's one of the times of year where card companies are just swamped, more so than other occasions. In the United States, children will sometimes really go over the top for their mothers on this holiday. This is particularly true of sons. In families where there is more than one son, it's not uncommon for all of them to compete to get the best gift for their mother. This is truly a day where motherhood is venerated in the United States. While motherhood is the main theme behind Mother's Day, people in the United States only celebrate this holiday for their own mothers. It's rare for people to give Mother's Day gifts to anybody but their own mother. Some families may include the grandmothers in the celebrations, but by and large, this is a holiday celebrated within the nuclear family. The International Mother's Day Shrine is a historic landmark in the United States where the inaugural Mother's Day celebration was held. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what movement the first Mother's Day celebrations were associated with? Some of the first Mother's Day celebrations were connected to the temperance movement, the movement behind the prohibition laws that went into effect in the early 20th century. Today, however, Mother's Day is completely apolitical. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day dedicated to mothers in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Father's Day is a relatively recent holiday in the United States, having come into existence in 1972. It's celebrated on the third Sunday of June every year. Though it's not as commercially important as Mother's Day, it's equally important to many families. Father's Day can be a bit more irreverent than Mother's Day in many regards. Lots of people call home on Father's Day. Guess which type of calls are particularly popular during this holiday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Father's Day is all about showing fathers appreciation for what they do, for acknowledging the role of fathers in children's lives, and in many cases, simply for making an excuse to hang out with one's dad. The holiday tends to have less of the soft imagery associated with Mother's Day, and, in fact, it does have a reputation as being an occasion that is rather lighthearted. Father's Day gifts tend to be, not surprisingly, manly in nature. It's common for people to buy their dad's power tools, neckties, sporting equipment, and so forth to show appreciation. In fact, getting an ugly necktie on Father's Day is something of a cliched joke among fathers across the nation. It's been poked fun at in commercials and in other venues. Father's Day is not quite as popular as Mother's Day. Researchers attribute this partially to the fact that there are more families with single mothers than there are with single fathers, which may skew the popularity of the holiday. The holiday is consistently popular, however, and many families find an excuse to do something special just for the father and the family on this particular day. For younger children, actually making a Father's Day gift is something of a tradition. Many children are encouraged to make something that they think their father would like, such as artwork or crafts, for example. Other children may opt to help their father out with chores. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what type of calls are popular on Father's Day? Collect calls are particularly popular on Father's Day, somewhat humorously. While fewer people tend to call home on Father's Day than they do on Mother's Day, many of them choose to call collect. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day dedicated to fathers in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Hanukkah is the most popular Jewish holiday in the United States. It falls on a date determined by the Jewish calendar, but is often very close to Christmas, making for a natural association between the two holidays. It's also called the Festival of Lights, and commemorates the rededication of the temple by the Maccabees in the 2nd century BC. A particular toy is associated with Hanukkah. Do you know which one? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Hanukkah is one of the most important Jewish holidays and is one that most people in the United States are very familiar with. The distinctive menorah, a candelabra that is kindled as part of the celebration, is commonly associated with the holiday by most people, Jewish or otherwise. Gift-giving is also sometimes a part of this holiday. Even though Hanukkah is not as widely celebrated as Christmas in the United States, it's a holiday that most people are cognizant of, and many non-Jewish people who have Jewish friends do participate in it to some extent. The holiday is also sometimes celebrated by secular Jews to keep the holiday season alive for non-religious reasons. The name Festival of Lights comes from the story behind Hanukkah. According to tradition, the lights in the temple were able to keep burning for 8 straight days, despite only having enough oil to keep burning for 1 day. This tradition is remembered today by the lighting of the menorah. This is the Hanukkah tradition with which most non-Jewish people are familiar, and the menorah is widely known in the United States as an emblem of Jewish people. A Hanukkah gelt is a small quantity of money traditionally given at this time of year. Chocolate coins, though they possess no monetary value, have become popular over the years as well. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which toy is associated with Hanukkah? The dreidel, a particular type of top with which a game is associated, is a traditional activity for children during this time of year. The dreidel is very commonly recognized as a symbol of the Jewish people in the US. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays with religious significance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Kwanzaa is a holiday in the United States that celebrates the heritage of African Americans. The holiday originated in 1966 and is held from December 26th until January 1st. Today, it provides an opportunity for African Americans and other U.S. citizens to learn about each other, as well as a day that serves as a uniquely African American holiday. The first film about Kwanzaa was released in 2009. Do you know the name of that film? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Kwanzaa came out of the 1960s in the United States, when racial tensions were particularly high. Many leaders in the African American community wanted to create cultural events and holidays that were specific to African Americans. Kwanzaa comes out of that desire. This holiday has endured over the years and, in fact, has become more popular as the years have gone on. Kwanzaa is very much centered on community. The holiday's name comes from a Swahili term, which refers to both tradition and reason. There are 7 principles associated with Kwanzaa: unity, collective work and responsibility, self-determination, purpose, cooperative economics, creativity, and faith. The holiday was recently commemorated with its own stamp issued by the United States Postal Service. Over the years, Kwanzaa has become an ideal occasion for people to learn about African American heritage and culture. Art, literature, music, and dance are all celebrated at this time of year and shared with friends and family, as well as with people outside of the African American community. While it may have come out of a divisive time, Kwanzaa has become a very unifying holiday and one that's widely acknowledged and celebrated. Kwanzaa has a 7-candle candelabra that's lit over the course of the holiday. This is a tradition similar to other holiday celebrations during the darkest time of year when lights are very important symbols. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the name of the first film about Kwanzaa that was released in 2009? The Black Candle was the first American film about the Kwanzaa celebration. It has been featured in other films, however, but not as a central element. Most people in the United States are familiar with Kwanzaa, and whether or not they celebrate it, they generally do know when it's held. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any similar holidays in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time!
Hi everyone, I'm Gina. I'm sure that everyone watching this video knows about New Year's Day and celebrates it. But do you know how we celebrate in Great Britain? In this lesson, you're going to learn about the British New Year, which we celebrate on the 1st of January. Do you know how many people gather in London to watch the New Year's fireworks? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. New Year's Eve is a big party night in Britain. People all over the country celebrate with parties and fireworks to ring in the new year. In Scotland especially, it is a big event known as Hogmanay. When Big Ben chimes midnight to signal the start of the new year, we join hands and sing the traditional song Auld Lang Syne, a song about friends and forgiveness. A new year is seen as a new beginning, where we can say goodbye to the year that has passed and welcome the year that is coming. It is traditional to choose a New Year's resolution, and this is a goal or a change that we want to make to ourselves or our lives. Popular New Year's resolutions are to lose the extra pounds put on over Christmas or to quit smoking. In Britain, and especially Scotland, there is an old superstition and custom that the first person to enter a house in the new year will bring luck with them. If the first footer, as they are called, has dark hair, it is considered extremely lucky. As New Year's Eve is a party night, it means that New Year's Day is a very slow-paced day. Public transport and store hours are limited, and most people choose to stay home, relax, and nurse their headaches. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Do you know how many people gather in London to watch the New Year fireworks? About 250,000 people gather every year along the River Thames to watch the fireworks. The fireworks are set off from boats along the river and also around the London Eye. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you remember the name of the song we sing to welcome the new year? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Gina. It's getting cold. There are lights and decorated trees everywhere you look. That can only mean that it's nearly the 25th of December and nearly Christmas Day. In this lesson, you're going to learn about how Christmas is celebrated in Britain. If we think of Christmas, we think of snow scenes. But do you know what the definition of a white Christmas in the UK is? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. One of the most famous Christmas traditions, and the one that causes the most stress, is exchanging gifts. Children get excited to see what presents Santa Claus will leave for them under the Christmas tree, and leave brandy and a mince pie out for him on Christmas Eve. For adults, it means braving busy stores to find the perfect presents for those they love. But always remember, it's the thought that counts. Christmas is a time for families to gather together, and central to this is the Christmas dinner. The whole family sits down together to eat a heavy meal of turkey and all of the trimmings, followed by Christmas pudding for dessert. Often, we pull Christmas crackers, and inside these are terrible jokes, cheap presents, and paper Christmas hats. After lunch, while everyone is waiting for the food to digest, many people switch on the TV and watch the special Christmas programs and movies that are broadcast. The most famous of these is the Queen's Christmas speech. It's broadcast simultaneously on the two biggest TV channels in the UK, the BBC and ITV at 3 p.m. And the Queen reviews the year and gives us a Christmas message that usually speaks of tolerance and forgiveness. If you send a letter to Santa and address it to the North Pole, then it will go to the North Pole. If you address it to Santa's grotto, then instead it will be answered by his British elves. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. If we think of Christmas, we think of snow scenes. But do you know what the definition of a white Christmas in the UK is? A Christmas is considered a white Christmas in the UK if a single snowflake falls on the roof of the Weather Centre in London during Christmas Day. It doesn't matter how much snow the rest of the country gets. It only counts if it snows at the London Weather Centre. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you remember the name of the most famous Christmas program? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Gina. After Christmas, the second biggest religious event of the year in the UK is Easter. Even for people who don't celebrate Easter as a religious observance, it is an important time of the year. The date changes every year, but it always coincides with the start of spring. In this lesson, you're going to learn about Easter and how it is celebrated. How many chocolate eggs are eaten in the UK at Easter? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. At Easter, we give each other eggs. Eggs symbolize the resurrection and new life of Jesus Christ following his crucifixion. When this tradition started, it was bird eggs painted in bright colors that were given. Now, we give chocolate eggs to each other, and especially to children, that often have even more chocolate inside. A popular activity at Easter is to hold an Easter egg hunt. Small eggs are given in an area, usually a garden or public place, such as a school, and then people try to find them. The eggs can be real eggs that have been hard-boiled and painted, or small chocolate eggs. Schools will hold many events and competitions related to Easter, and one of the most famous is the Easter Bonnet Parade. For this, hats are decorated with Easter-related decorations, such as eggs, chicks, and rabbits. There are egg rolling competitions, where hard-boiled eggs are rolled down a slide or a hill, and the egg that travels the furthest without breaking apart wins. Also, there are egg decorating competitions. At Christmas, it is Santa Claus that brings the presents, but at Easter, it is the Easter Bunny that brings the eggs. Chocolate figures in the shape of bunnies are popular gifts at Easter, alongside the traditional eggs. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. How many chocolate eggs are eaten in the UK at Easter? Around 80 million eggs are eaten by Brits at Easter. This is particularly impressive for a country that has a population of only 63 million people. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any games similar to the ones I spoke about in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Gina. A lot of countries celebrate Christmas Day on the 25th of December. But did you know that in the UK, there is another public holiday on the 26th of December called Boxing Day? In this lesson, you're going to learn about Boxing Day and why it is a special day. The 26th of December is better known in many countries as a Saint's Day. What is the name of the saint? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The origin of the name Boxing Day is not fully known, and there are many theories. Some say it is because the poor boxes in church were opened on the 26th of December. Another theory is that it is because tradesmen would collect their Christmas box of presents and gifts from their customers on the day after Christmas. Boxing Day has become one of the busiest shopping days of the year, as it is a day when the big post-Christmas sales start. Eager shoppers start queuing from the early hours of the morning to grab bargains. The sale at the department store Harrods is particularly famous, as it will sell unique one-off items for huge discounts. For these items, it is first come, first served. Boxing Day is also a day for sport. Traditionally, it was a day for fox hunting, but this practice was banned in 2004. Some hunts still go ahead despite the ban, but others are artificial hunts when no foxes are chased or harmed. It is also a day for football fans, as a full program of football fixtures are held on Boxing Day. Many people go to football games or watch the matches from home. With so much food prepared for Christmas Day, it is inevitable that some will be left over. So Boxing Day is for eating leftovers. Turkey sandwiches, turkey salad, Anything that is left over gets eaten on Boxing Day. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. The 26th of December is better known in many countries as a saint's day. What is the name of the saint? The 26th of December is also St. Stephen's Day, although within the UK, it is almost exclusively known as Boxing Day. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you remember the theories as to why it is called Boxing Day? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Remember, the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. If you live in the UK, you will know that rhyme and what it means. If you don't, then you soon will. It refers to Guy Fawkes Day, an annual celebration on the 5th of November. In this lesson, you're going to learn about what Guy Fawkes Day is and how it is celebrated. Why did people in the UK first start to celebrate Guy Fawkes Day? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Guy Fawkes Day celebrates the failure of Guy Fawkes and his accomplices in their plot to kill King James I. In 1605, Fawkes and his friends planned to blow up the Houses of Parliament with the Protestant king inside and replace him with a Catholic monarch. However, their plot was discovered and they were arrested and later executed for treason. We celebrate Guy Fawkes Day by lighting large bonfires and setting off fireworks. The celebrations are also called Bonfire Night. People may go to organised firework displays or have smaller parties in their gardens. Fireworks are a large part of the celebrations, and although the event is on the 5th of November, it isn't unusual to hear fireworks throughout October too. Another way of marking the day is by the making of a guy. A guy is a homemade dummy that is usually made to resemble Guy Fawkes himself. It used to be commonplace to see children with their guys asking for money by shouting, "Penny for the guy!" But this tradition is not as popular in recent years. The guys are thrown onto the bonfires and burnt. The image of Guy Fawkes has become very popular in recent years due to Guy Fawkes masks being used in the film V for Vendetta and also by the online group Anonymous. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Why did people in the UK first start to celebrate Guy Fawkes Day? The celebrations of Guy Fawkes Day began because the government in 1605 enforced a public day of celebration. The public had no choice but to light bonfires and celebrate the failure of the plot. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any events or festivals that you celebrate with fireworks in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Pancake Day, or Shrove Tuesday, to give it its proper name, is a Tuesday 7 weeks before Easter. It is the last day before a period of abstinence, Lent, starts. In this lesson, you're going to learn about why it is commonly known as Pancake Day and why it is a special day in Britain. Do you know where the name Shrove Tuesday comes from and what it means? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The traditional meaning of Shrove Tuesday comes from it being the day before Lent begins. It was the last chance for people to eat whatever they chose before they began to fast, and was an opportunity for them to eat whatever was left in their pantry or kitchen. We eat pancakes on Shrove Tuesday because they are easy to make and can be filled with any topping. British pancakes are made from thin batter, only a few millimeters thick, that are cooked in a frying pan. Brave chefs will flip their pancakes to ensure they're cooked on both sides, but others will use a spatula. Popular toppings include plain lemon and sugar, and sweeter things such as chocolate and fruit. As well as cooking pancakes, there are many games and activities that are held in Britain. The most popular are pancake races. In these races, competitors run a short track, maybe only 100 meters or so, while flipping a pancake in their frying pan. If you drop the pancake, you have to stop and pick it up. The winner is whoever completes the race first with their pancake still intact. There is a famous race held in Olney. Participants must be housewives and wear an apron. The winner is the first to complete a 375-meter course, give their pancake to the church bell ringer, and receive a kiss. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Do you know where the name Shrove Tuesday comes from and what it means? Shrove comes from the word shrieve, and this means to confess. In the olden days, Shrove Tuesday would be a day of confession for Christians before Lent began. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you eat pancakes in your country? If so, are they the same as British pancakes? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Lent is a 6.5-week period that leads into Easter. Its date changes every year, but it always starts in either February or March. In this lesson, you're going to learn about how Lent is observed in Britain. Do you know why the date of Lent changes every year? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Lent begins on Ash Wednesday and ends on Holy Saturday, the day before Easter Sunday. It's classed as lasting 40 days as the Sundays within that period aren't included in that count. During Lent, people who observe it for religious reasons will choose to give up something as a sacrifice. Lent is also a time for improvement. As well as sacrificing material items or food, Christians try to improve themselves and live a better life for those 40 days. For the non-religious, Lent falls within the popular period for spring cleaning, and it is seen as a period of cleaning and improving the home as well as themselves. Lent has become more than just a religious event. Its position in the calendar of being a couple of months after Christmas and immediately before Easter, both big days for overeating and eating too many sweets, makes it perfect for those on a diet too. Many people may choose to give up chocolate or sweets for Lent for dietary reasons, more so than religious reasons. Some people that fast for Lent use a Lenten calendar to track their progress through the 40 days. These are often handmade and colourful and can look more like a board game than a traditional calendar. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Do you know why the date of Lent changes every year? The date changes because Lent, as well as Easter, is tied into the lunar calendar and not the regular solar calendar. This is based on lunar phases, and they are slightly shorter than a month, meaning that the lunar year constantly changes when put against the solar calendar. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you observe Lent or have any period of fasting in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. everyone, I'm Gina. Remembrance Day in the UK is the 11th of November, and this is a day when we honour the memories of those who died fighting for their country. In this lesson, you're going to learn about how the war dead are commemorated in the UK. On the 11th of November at 11 a.m, the UK joins together to mark the day with one action. What is that action? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Remembrance Day is the 11th of November because the armistice to mark the end of World War I was signed by the Allies and Germany at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1918. Originally, it was called Armistice Day, but was later renamed Remembrance Day after World War II. To mark Remembrance Day, people in the UK wear red poppies attached to their clothes, usually their coat. Due to poppies being so interlinked with Remembrance Day, it is also sometimes known as Poppy Day. The poppies are sold by the Royal British Legion, a charity that helps and supports war veterans. Throughout the country, poppy wreaths are laid at war memorials and ceremonies are held. The main ceremony to mark Remembrance Day happens at the Centre Path in Whitehall, central London, and the Queen lays a wreath there. As well as wreaths, people will place small wooden crosses to honour their family members. The chosen symbol is a poppy because during World War I, the fiercest fighting happened in Flanders, in the western part of Belgium. The towns and fields there were destroyed and no plantation survived other than poppies. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. On the 11th of November at 11 a.m, the UK joins together to mark the day with one action. What is that action? It is a 2-minute silence. Sometimes even busy stores will observe the silence by refraining from serving customers for the 2 minutes. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any days of remembrance in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. May Day is the first day of May and it has been celebrated in England for 2 millennia. It is a day that is steeped in tradition and displays England's less modern side. In this lesson, you're going to learn about May Day celebrations. The first May Day celebrations were held over 2,000 years ago, but by what group of people? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Although May Day is the 1st of May, since 1978 it has been observed on the first Monday of May. This day is deemed a bank holiday, and the majority of people in the UK have the day off from work or school. The purpose of May Day is to celebrate the oncoming summer. Summer doesn't officially begin until June, but May Day celebrates the end of the colder weather and hope for a nice summer. May Day celebrations are associated with flowers as trees and plants begin to blossom around this time. May Day is observed more keenly in the villages and small towns of the UK. There, people will dress in traditional clothes and take part in activities such as dancing around a maypole, and will demonstrate traditional dances such as Morris dancing. Also, girls will compete for the honour of being crowned the May Queen for that year. In the 17th century, May Day was banned by the then Puritan government and reinstated in 1660 with the restoration of King Charles II. Charles later amended all documents to show that he was coronated in 1649 instead of 1660. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. The first May Day celebrations were held over 2,000 years ago. But by what group of people? It was the Romans. They celebrated the festival of Flora, the Roman goddess of flowers. It was also celebrated in many Germanic countries, and developed into the May Day we celebrate today. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any celebrations similar to May Day in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. 14th of February is Valentine's Day, and it is an opportunity to show your loved ones how much you care for them. In this lesson, you're going to learn about Valentine's Day in the UK. Roughly how much do the British public spend on Valentine's Day each year? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Valentine's Day used to be a day to admit your love for someone with an anonymous card. Instead of signing the card with your name, people would sign with either a question mark or the words "from your secret admirer." Although this still happens, it is now more common to be upfront with your feelings. Valentine's Day comes from Saint Valentine, who is widely thought to be a 3rd century saint that died on the 14th of February. However, it is possible that there are 2 Saint Valentines that are linked to this day. The 2nd Saint Valentine died in the 2nd century and is also said to have died on the 14th of February. As well as Valentine's Day cards, people also buy gifts for their loved ones. Popular gifts include chocolates, flowers, or stuffed toys holding Valentine's Day hearts or flowers. Anyone can give presents, but there is a higher expectation placed on men to buy good gifts for their girlfriends than vice versa on Valentine's Day. Although Valentine's Day is traditionally a day for lovers, it is also a day to express your feelings to anyone that you love. Parents may send cards to their children, and you can even buy Valentine's Day cards for your pets. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Roughly how much did the British public spend on Valentine's Day each year? In 2011, it was calculated that the British public spend around £503 million on Valentine's Day cards and gifts each year. That can buy a lot of chocolate and flowers. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a special day for lovers in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. The Queen's birthday is not her actual birthday, but is the official birthday of the British sovereign, who is the UK's head of state, the highest ranked official in the country. The date changes every year, but it is always a Saturday in June. In this lesson, you're going to learn about how the monarch's official birthday is celebrated. Queen Elizabeth II's official birthday is in June, but when is her actual birthday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The main celebration of the official birthday is Trooping the Colour. This is a ceremony performed by many different regiments of the British and Commonwealth armies. It takes place at Horse Guards Parade, and many soldiers and marching bands parade in front of the monarch. The name Trooping the Colour refers to the tradition of the colours, which are flags representing each regiment, being displayed to the soldiers so that they could be recognised in battle. During Trooping the Colour, the regiments display their colours and pay tribute to the reigning monarch. The Queen's birthday also marks the publication of the Birthday Honours List. The Honours List details all of the people, both famous and civilian, that will receive honours such as knighthoods, CBEs, and other awards. The list is published in the London Gazette and also newspapers across the Commonwealth. The official birthday has been celebrated in the UK since 1748. In 1908, it was moved to June from November by the then reigning monarch, King Edward VII, in the hope of it being held during good weather. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. The Queen's official birthday is in June, but when is her actual birthday? Queen Elizabeth II's actual birthday is the 21st of April. She was born in 1926 in Mayfair, London. The official birthday is likely to remain in June in the future, even when other monarchs have been crowned. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a special day to celebrate your head of state? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. The month of October contains the spookiest day of the year, as the 31st is Halloween, a day of hauntings and fun. In this lesson, you're going to learn about Halloween celebrations in the UK. What are the origins of the name Halloween? Do you know why the day is called that? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The origins of Halloween are not completely clear. Some scholars think that it can be traced back to the Celtic harvest festivals, such as Samhain, being converted to a festival for Christians to enjoy, whereas others believe that Halloween is purely an original Christian festival. Halloween is now seen as a fun event for both adults and children. People of all ages will dress in fancy dress for parties, and some workplaces, such as stores and offices, will encourage their employees to enter into the spirit of the day and allow them to dress up too. Costumes tend to be scary characters, such as witches or vampires, but can be anything. For children, Halloween is about dressing up and eating sweets. Children will wear costumes and go to the houses in the neighborhood where they will knock on the neighbors' doors and say, "Trick or treat." The householder might then give the children a treat of some sweets. Not everybody likes the trick-or-treat tradition, however, as some houses will display prohibition signs saying, "No trick-or-treaters." Although children generally don't play tricks anymore when not given sweets, common tricks used to include throwing eggs at windows and toilet paper at trees. Thankfully, children aren't as mischievous and are better supervised now. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. What are the origins of the name Halloween? Do you know why the day is called that? The 1st of November is All Hallows Day, so the 31st of October is All Hallows Eve. The name has been contracted to Halloween. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you celebrate Halloween or have any similar days in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. St. George's Day is on the 23rd of April, and this is a special day in England because St. George is a patron saint of the country. In this lesson, you're going to learn about the meaning of St. George's Day. St. George is represented on the flag of the United Kingdom. What part of the flag comes from St. George? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Although St. George is a patron saint of England, he is not English. He was born in Turkey in the 3rd century and was a Roman soldier. He was a Christian serving under a pagan emperor and was persecuted for his beliefs by being tortured and eventually beheaded. St. George is most famous for the legend of him slaying a dragon. The legend states that he travelled to Libya to to save a princess from being sacrificed to a dragon that was terrorizing a village. This myth was attributed to St. George in the 12th century, so long after his death. St. George's Day is not a big occasion in England. It is not a public holiday, and any events that are held are usually small community events, such as fairs or parties. You might see the cross of St. George displayed more frequently, but there are no big firework displays. Despite this, the legend of St. George and the infamous dragon is well known throughout England. One of the most popular pub names in England is the George and Dragon. The sign on these pubs usually has a drawing of George slaying the dragon, often in full medieval armour. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. St. George is represented on the flag of the United Kingdom. But what part of the flag comes from St. George? It is the red cross in the middle. This is St. George's Cross, and it also makes up the flag of England. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? What are the origins of the design of your country's flag? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. In the UK, the 12th night refers to the 12th night after Christmas and falls on the 5th of January. In this lesson, you're going to learn why this date is of importance. Do you know what the traditional 12th night drink, wassail, is made from? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The 12th night is when Christmas decorations should be taken down. If any decorations remain after the 5th of January, then they should be left until next year. The superstition is that taking them down after the 12th night will bring bad luck upon the house. In the olden days, it was believed that spirits lived in the greenery, such as holly and ivy, that was used to decorate the house. This greenery was brought inside during the midwinter to help the spirits, but after the 12th night, it was time to release them back into the countryside and their natural habitat. If they were not released, the spirits would cause havoc in the house. Now you may be thinking that 12 days after Christmas is actually the 6th of January and not the 5th, and you would be correct. However, in olden days, a day started at sunset and not at midnight. Also, day followed night and not vice versa. So by modern calendars, the 12th day is the 6th, but to our ancestors, it was the 5th. Twelfth night used to be a day for practical jokes and plays. It is believed that Shakespeare named one of his plays Twelfth Night for this reason, and also it was first performed on the 12th night. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Do you know what the traditional 12th night drink, wassail, is made from? It is a cider-based drink, seasoned with various spices and sometimes honey. It is especially popular in the south of England, where most apples for cider are grown. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? If you decorate your house in your country, do you have any special ceremonies or traditions for taking down the decorations? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Dewi Sant, as it's known in Welsh, or St David, is the patron saint of Wales, and St David's Day is celebrated by the Welsh on the 1st of March. In this lesson, you're going to learn about St David's Day. Why isn't the Welsh flag represented on the flag of the United Kingdom? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Saint David was a Celtic monk and bishop that lived in the 6th century. He helped to spread the word of Christianity across Wales. It is claimed that he lived for over a century, and the day of his death was the 1st of March. Saint David's most famous miracle is that while he was preaching to some followers, the ground was said to have risen up and formed a hill beneath him, so that he could be seen and heard better. He also founded several monasteries in Wales during his lifetime. St. David's Day is commemorated in Wales by wearing daffodils and leeks. These are both national emblems of Wales and are closely associated with the country. They are often worn attached to a coat or hat. Some children wear the Welsh national dress of a tall black hat and long dress in red and white. The leek is a national emblem because St. David was said to have advised the Welsh to wear a leek in their caps when they battled the Saxons so that they could easily distinguish friend from foe in battle. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Why isn't the Welsh flag represented on the flag of the United Kingdom? This is because Wales, unlike England, Scotland and Ireland, was never a kingdom. When the UK was formed, Wales was already part of England and was a principality instead. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? What is your country's national emblem? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. The 1st of April is April Fool's Day, a day to try and fool your friends with jokes and a day to have some light-hearted fun. In this lesson, you're going to learn about April Fool's Day in the UK. There was a famous April Fool's story about penguins published by the BBC. What do you think the story was? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. It is commonly thought that the reason why the 1st of April is a day for tricks is due to the changing of the calendar. Currently, we use the Gregorian calendar, and a new year starts on the 1st of January. However, previously, the Julian calendar was used, and in this calendar, a new year started on the 1st of April. When a change was made, those who still celebrated on the 1st of April were mocked and called fools. On the 1st of April, we play tricks on others and try to deceive the more gullible amongst our friends. The more outlandish these tricks and deceptions are, the better. However, this custom should only last until midday. After midday, April Fool's Day is over, and tricksters shouldn't play any more tricks. April Fool's Day isn't just an event held between friends. Every year, major multinational corporations, celebrities, and media outlets also try to play tricks on the public. Every year, most major national newspapers will carry a story or two on the 1st of April that is a joke, and the game becomes trying to spot it. The Gregorian calendar was first conceived in 1582 by Pope Gregory XIII, but was not adopted by the UK until 1752. Delaying the change resulted in 11 days being skipped so that the calendar could run correctly. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. There was a famous April Fool's story about penguins published by the BBC. What do you think the story was? The BBC claimed that their cameras in the Antarctic had captured footage of flying penguins. It was claimed these penguins would migrate to South Africa every summer. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a day for fooling in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. In the Northern Hemisphere, summer begins in June, and this is also the case in the UK. Midsummer's Day follows the start of summer and is marked on the 24th of June. In this lesson, you're going to learn about what Midsummer's Day means in the UK. A play written by Shakespeare is based around the midsummer time of year. Do you know what it is called? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Back in the 13th century, Midsummer's Day was celebrated on the 23rd of June, which is known as St. John's Eve. It was followed by celebrations on the 25th of June, when bonfires, feasts, and general merrymaking would be held. It was celebrated in this manner until the Reformation, when England broke away from the Catholic Church during the 16th century. Lighting bonfires has become popular again in some parts of Cornwall and Scotland. The significance behind lighting bonfires is that they are in praise of the sun. The sun starts to become weaker and days become shorter following Midsummer's Day, and bonfires are lit to support and bolster the sun. These days, the main Midsummer's Day celebrations centre on Stonehenge. Stonehenge is a prehistoric monument in Wiltshire, England, and during the summer solstice celebrations, the public are given additional access to the Stonehenge site so that the event can be celebrated. Thousands of people gather to watch the sunrise on the longest day. An old midsummer superstition is that any rose picked on Midsummer's Eve will stay fresh until Christmas. Also, if young girls pick a rose and repeat a specific rhyme, it is said that their true love will visit them. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. A play written by Shakespeare is based around the midsummer time of year. Do you know what it's called? It is A Midsummer Night's Dream, and it is one of the most popular Shakespearean comedies and plays. The title of the play reflects the dreamlike atmosphere of the play. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any events to mark the midsummer or the longest day in your culture? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. In September, we harvest the crops that have grown throughout the year, and the Harvest Festival is a celebration of the food that we have cultivated in the land. In this lesson, you're going to learn about what the Harvest Festival means to the UK. The word harvest comes from the Old English word harefest. What does harefest mean? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Traditionally, the Harvest Festival is held on or near the Sunday of the harvest moon. The harvest moon is a full moon that is closest to the autumnal equinox. 2 times out of 3, this falls within September, but on those rare occasions, it occurs in October. In the UK, the main places that celebrate the Harvest Festival are churches and schools. Churches decorate with baskets of fruit and other produce, and say prayers and sing hymns to give thanks for previous successful harvests and hope for continued success in the future. It is not a public holiday, but is still an important date in the calendar in the UK. Schools may hold assemblies that are similar to the church services, but they also ask students to bring food to the school. The food is then parcelled up so that it can be distributed to those less fortunate, as the Harvest Festival is also about helping those in need as much as possible. Although harvest celebrations can be traced back to pagan festivals, the modern harvest festival began in 1843 when parishioners in Cornwall were invited to a Thanksgiving service by the Reverend at that time. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. The word harvest comes from the Old English word harefest. What does harefest mean? Harefest is the Old English word for autumn. The meaning evolved, however, and it came to mean the season for reaping and gathering grain. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any harvest festivals in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. St. Andrew is a patron saint of Scotland, and St. Andrew's Day is celebrated on the 30th of November. It is Scotland's national day. In this lesson, you're going to learn about St. Andrew and how his day is marked. The 30th of November is a public holiday in Scotland, but it was only recently made so. In what year did the Scottish Parliament make it a bank holiday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. St. Andrew was one of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ and one of the closest to Christ. St. Andrew is said to have been present at the Last Supper. He is the patron saint of Scotland because legend states that some of his remains were taken to Scotland during the 4th century to a town now known as St. Andrews. The flag of Scotland is a white cross on an X orientation on a blue background. This cross, called a saltire, is known as the Cross of St. Andrew because when he was crucified, he refused the regular cross and was instead bound to an X-shaped cross. Scotland's flag is said to be the oldest, most continuously used flag design in the world, but the truth of that is open to debate and difficult to prove. St. Andrew's Day is a celebration of all things Scottish. In the capital city, Edinburgh, there is a week-long celebration with traditional ceilidh dancing, Scottish food and bagpipe playing. Glasgow holds a big shindig or party to mark the day. Schools have special events and demonstrate things such as dancing and poetry. The 30th of November is designated as an official flag day in Scotland. This means that every building with a flagpole must fly the flag of Scotland on that day. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. The 30th of November is a public holiday in Scotland, but it was only recently made so. In what year did the de-evolved Scottish Parliament make it a bank holiday? It was made a public holiday in 2006, so those north of the border get a public holiday for their patron saint, but those south of the border in England and Wales do not. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Does your country have official flag days? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Advent is a period that leads into Christmas. It is an important time of preparation and expectant waiting. In this lesson, you're going to learn about what Advent means in the UK. Advent is an anglicisation of the Latin word Adventus. What does Adventus mean? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Advent is the beginning of the liturgical year, or church year, and begins on the 4th Sunday before Christmas, so it always falls between the 27th of November and the 3rd of December. The religious meaning behind the Advent period is to anticipate and prepare for the second coming of Christ, by anticipating and preparing for Christmas. The lighting of an Advent wreath is a common way to count down to Christmas. The wreath is made of evergreen branches and has 4 candles arranged around it. The candles represent the 4 Sundays of Advent, and 1 candle is lit on each Sunday in Advent. Often there is a 5th candle in the center, and this last candle is lit on Christmas Day. Advent is also a countdown to Christmas for the non-religious, as Advent calendars are a very popular form of confectionery. These are a type of calendar that have a door for every day of Advent. Behind each door is an item, usually chocolate, and people use them as a countdown to Christmas. The chocolates are often molded into the shape of Christmas icons, such as mistletoe and bells. Advent is a time when Christmas preparations really move up a gear. Presents are wrapped, trees are decorated, and every town and city becomes Christmassy, thanks to decorations and illuminations. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Advent is an anglicization of the Latin word adventus. What does adventus mean? It means coming or arrival. Advent is literally the arrival of Christmas. In the past, many loan words were anglicized to make them easier for English speakers to understand. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any countdown periods in your country for any special days? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Mothering Sunday is a day where we pay respect to our mothers. It is more commonly known as Mother's Day in other countries. In this lesson, you're going to learn about the history of Mothering Sunday. Simnel cake is traditionally Mothering Sunday cake. But what is it? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Mothering Sunday is not a fixed day in the UK. It is always the 4th Sunday of Lent, so much like Lent, the date changes every year. Mothering Sunday was originally a Christian holiday and is separate from the Mother's Day celebrated in other countries. But in the UK, the two have come to have a virtually identical meaning, and the two titles have become interchangeable. It is referred to as both Mothering Sunday and Mother's Day. The origins of Mothering Sunday refer to the custom of people returning to their mother church, the largest church in their area, and it was said that they had gone mothering. It also referred to servants at stately homes and mansions being allowed 1 day each year to visit their families, and this would fall on Mothering Sunday. The servants would return home with presents for their mothers. Nowadays, Mothering Sunday is merely a day to pay respects to and show our love for our mothers. Children, no matter their age, will send cards and flowers to their mothers. They may help out more with the household chores or even prepare breakfast in bed, so that their mothers can have an easier and more relaxing day. It was in the 1950s when Mothering Sunday and Mother's Day became integrated. Retailers and merchants saw the opportunity to make some money and relentlessly promoted Mother's Day. Now a lot of British people don't know there is a difference. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Simnel cake is a traditional Mothering Sunday cake. But what is it? It is a fruit cake that is decorated with a layer of marzipan. On top of this layer, 11 marzipan balls are placed to represent Christ's 12 apostles, minus Judas, who betrayed Christ. Now it is sometimes eaten at Easter too. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have Mothering Sunday or something similar to pay respects to your mother in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Unlike Mothering Sunday, Father's Day in the UK follows the similar conventions to Father's Day in the rest of the world. It's a day to celebrate and honour our fathers. In this lesson, you're going to learn about Father's Day in the UK. When did Father's Day reach prominence in the UK? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Father's Day is a regular event and is always held on the third Sunday in June. It isn't a public holiday, but is a special day for the family nonetheless. The day originated in the US in 1910 as a complement to the American take on Mother's Day. For Father's Day, children give gifts to their fathers. Schools, especially primary schools, may give their pupils time to make a card or small present during class time. Other popular gifts are traditionally masculine items such as neckties or gadgets and boys' toys. British retailers stock Father's Day cards and gifts in anticipation of the day. As well as gifts, children might treat their fathers to a day out or event. Many places have Father's Day specials, so he can be treated to a meal at the stadium of his favourite football club, taken to lunch on a steam train, or given a more practical gift, such as flying lessons or a spin around a racetrack in a racing car. Father's Day is always the third Sunday in June, but a major UK retailer listed it as a fourth Sunday in their 2014 calendars in error. All defective calendars were recalled and replaced at great expense to the retailer. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. When did Father's Day reach prominence in the UK? Father's Day is a relatively new event as it only came across the pond in the very late 60s and only really took hold in the 70s. Heavy promotion made it soar during the 90s. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you celebrate Father's Day in your country? If so, is it also on the third Sunday in June? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. The Grand National is one of the highlights of the sporting calendar in the UK. It is an annual steeplechase and the most prestigious horse race in the country. In this lesson, you're going to learn about why the Grand National is so important. The Grand National is held every year, but what was special and unique about the race in 1993? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The Grand National is a horse race held annually at Aintree Racecourse in Liverpool. It has been running since 1839. The course is 4 miles long and has 30 fences, making it one of the toughest horse races in the world and far tougher than more conventional courses. Some of the fences, such as Becher's Brook, are almost as famous as the race itself. The Grand National is the one day when even those that don't gamble may place a bet. It is popular amongst the general public and it is the busiest day of the year for bookies. The Grand National is the most valuable horse race in Europe, and in 2013 it had a prize fund of just under £1 million. It is watched by an estimated 600 million people across 140 countries. The race is, however, not without controversy. Due to the harsh demands of the course and the fences, the horse mortality rate for the Grand National is far higher than for other races. Every year there are many protests about the alleged cruelty of the race, and the race organisers have responded to the criticism by modifying fences and moving the start line. Some of the winners of the race have become famous in their own right. In the 1970s, a horse called Red Rum won the race 3 times, and his death in 1990 made the front page of the newspapers. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. The Grand National is held every year, but what was special and unique about the race in 1993? It was unique because it was the only time that the race has been declared null and void. The starting tape became tangled around the jockeys on 2 separate occasions, and a false start was declared. Some jockeys that were able to start the race thought the officials trying to stop them were protesters, and so carried on. The race was considered void and bets refunded. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you know of any other prestigious horse races? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. Wimbledon is the most famous tennis tournament in the world. It takes place every June in a suburb of London that is also called Wimbledon. In this lesson, you're going to learn about why Wimbledon is so famous and prestigious. How long was the longest ever match held at Wimbledon, and how many matches were played? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The Championships Wimbledon, to give it its full title, is the oldest tennis tournament in the world and one of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments that make up the yearly tennis calendar. Of these 4 majors, Wimbledon is the only one still played on a grass court, as is traditional. Wimbledon is a unique feature of the tennis calendar and is different to the other Grand Slams. All players must adhere to a strict dress code and wear only white. There are no advertising hoardings around the court, so it's more traditional and less commercialized than other tournaments. Wimbledon is also celebrated by the spectators in a unique fashion. It is during the English summertime when, in theory at least, it will be warm and sunny. It means that tennis fans can watch the tennis and also eat the popular English summer delicacy, strawberries and cream. There is usually a royal presence at Wimbledon too, as a member of the royal family will be present at some games of the tournament. Wimbledon's most famous court is Centre Court, and this is only used during the 2 weeks of Wimbledon. It was fitted with a retractable roof in 2009 so that rain and hot weather won't affect play. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. How long was the longest ever match held at Wimbledon, and how many matches were played? It was a marathon of a match that lasted for 5 hours and 12 minutes, and 112 games were played. Win or lose, the competitors must have needed a long soak to ease their muscles after they had finished. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? What famous sporting events are held in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson. Hi everyone, I'm Gina. The Notting Hill Carnival happens every year in August in the Notting Hill area of London. It is a colourful celebration and the biggest carnival in Europe. In this lesson, you're going to learn about what happens during the carnival and the history behind it. Food is a big feature of the festival. Do you know what the most popular foods are? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The carnival in its current form was first held in 1966 and runs over 3 days, the August Bank Holiday Monday and the 2 days preceding it. Over 1 million people attend the festival, and the main event, a colourful parade, winds through 20 miles of London streets. The carnival began as a small-scale local festival arranged by the West Indian community. From those humble beginnings, it has evolved into a full-blooded Caribbean carnival. Highlights of the weekend include a kids' day with a costume contest and a parade where floats and thousands of people walk through the streets. One of the key features of the carnival is music. Steel bands line the streets and play, and their music can be heard for miles. There are also displays of other types of music, such as calypso and soca, and in recent years, professional and international artists have begun to play the carnival in increasing numbers. When the carnival first started, it was without approval from the authorities. It wasn't until 1987 that the police began to take a conciliatory approach with the carnival instead of simply trying to shut it down. And now I'll give you the answer to the earlier quiz. Food is a big feature of the festival. Do you know what the most popular foods are? Stores at the festival sell many types of Caribbean food. The most popular and famous dishes are jerk chicken, curried goat and rice, and peas. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any festivals celebrating a foreign culture in your country? Leave us a comment at EnglishClass101.com and we'll see you in the next lesson.
Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone.